On a Wednesday afternoon, a woman by the name of Sandra submits footage from a house where something deeply disturbing took place not long ago. The property is currently vacant, and the reason for that is Sandra herself. She was the one living there, and nobody has moved in to replace her. There's a good reason for that, though. Something about this place just isn't right.
Are pulling up to my old house. No one lives here anymore. It's haunted.
Over the years, Sandra's family members would regularly mention feeling uncomfortable whenever they visited her there. She shared that unease, but what brought her back was a strange alert she received from a security camera mounted outside the house, and this was only 2 nights after she'd moved out. She hadn't even realized she'd left the camera behind until that notification came through. She knew she needed to retrieve it, but after seeing what the footage actually showed, there was absolutely no chance she was returning here by herself after dark. What follows is exactly what that camera recorded.
That's creepy. We should go check it out.
No. The door is wide open.
The door leading to the back entrance swings open entirely on its own. Convinced someone had broken in, Sandra immediately reached for her phone to contact the police. The lock on that door can actually be heard disengaging, as though someone on the inside had turned it. But when nobody emerged after several minutes of watching, she realized this was something far beyond a break-in. The reason she and her boyfriend had left this house wasn't purely financial. Though keeping up with the bills had been a struggle, it was also the relentless series of strange events happening inside. On one particular night, Sandra jolted awake in a cold sweat to find what she could only describe as a presence staring back at her from the other side of the room. She's chalked it up to sleep paralysis, but her boyfriend remains unconvinced by that explanation. Now, even with video evidence in hand, the camera itself is still sitting at the property. So a few days on, Sandra heads back with her nephew to go get it. And on the way through the house, the camera catches something remarkable.
Here anymore. It's haunted.
See for yourself. A chair, one that looks far from lightweight, topples over completely on its own, and it happens at the precise moment Sandra walks in. There's nothing nearby that could have caused it to fall, yet down it goes. Sandra doesn't believe for a second that was a coincidence. Between the back door swinging open 2 nights prior and everything she'd already been through while living there, it's not hard to understand why she's completely certain her former home is haunted. But that brings us to you. What do you make of all this? Is Sandra's old house genuinely haunted, or is there a rational explanation hiding somewhere in all of it? As of right now, nobody has a clear answer. The original source of this footage remains a mystery, but over the last several years, this story has absolutely exploded across the internet. It's been reshared in dozens of languages, talked about in countries all over the globe, and almost universally referred to by the same title, the Zombie Man. According to the viral claims surrounding it, the footage depicts a man who is already deceased. Certain versions of the story even allege that his organs had been taken out. And yet, he suddenly rises, begins moving through a hospital corridor in a deeply unsettling, erratic way, sending everyone around him into a panic. That alone was enough to send the internet into a frenzy of theories. Some viewers insisted this was the first genuine zombie ever documented on film. Others pointed to secret experiments, or even forces beyond explanation. As the clip continued to spread, new layers kept getting added to the story until it had fully transformed into one of the internet's most enduring urban legends. But if you actually slow down and examine what's known, the truth turns out to be something else entirely. The individual in the footage is a real person. This isn't AI-generated content, and it wasn't set up for the camera. His name was Caden Salu. He was 20 years old at the time, an ordinary young man. At some point, a fire broke out inside his home. He made it out alive, but sustained severe burns across much of his body. He was rushed to the hospital in critical condition, and that is where this video was filmed. Here's what actually matters. He was alive in that moment, and his organs had never been removed. What the camera is really capturing is someone in a state of extreme shock. His body is under enormous physiological stress. He's completely disoriented, with little to no awareness of his surroundings or what's going on around him. He climbs out of the hospital bed and begins moving in a frantic, uncoordinated manner. And that is precisely what gave rise to the zombie comparison. Someone nearby caught sight of what was unfolding, grabbed their phone, and began recording. That's the real story behind how this viral clip came to exist. Sometime after these events took place, his condition deteriorated significantly, and tragically, he did. A mother and her daughter were ringing in the new year together, their first one since losing the father, who had passed away earlier that year. They kept things low-key, just the two of them setting off confetti poppers as the clock struck midnight. The daughter had a little trouble getting hers to go off, but the moment it finally did, something completely unexpected happened. Sitting on the counter right behind them, a snow globe suddenly began playing music, completely on its own. You could see their expressions shift in an instant, going from pure joy to absolute disbelief. The thing is, according to the two of them, that snow globe had never once activated by itself before. It had been the father's, something they'd held on to as a cherished reminder of him. They're convinced this was no random coincidence. To them, it was him reaching across, making his presence known and joining his family and welcoming the new year from the other side.
Straight up. Oh. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh, I can get it. Twist it. Woo! Happy New Year! Happy New Year! That has not worked. Hold on. Okay. No, it worked, but we just haven't. That has not. I twisted it. That has not worked. That's my dad's snow globe. Like, we designated that to, like, be my dad. Oh my God.
This next clip comes from a creator named Wasaf Ahmadi, who received a tip from one of his followers about a crumbling, abandoned property covered in unsettling symbols. He'd already made previous attempts to document the place, but each one ended the same way. Someone dialing the authorities and shutting the whole thing down before he could get a real look inside. So this time, he comes back with a friend and a firm determination to finally uncover why this derelict building seems so heavily guarded by outside forces. They scale the stone wall and make their way around the perimeter. Around the back, they find an open window frame. Inside that room, painted across the far wall in vivid red, is a large number 6. Just above, on the second floor, there's another window. And while they're taking in the scene, something falls from that upper opening, the sound loud enough to snap their eyes upward. Back at the lower room, they clock something new. The interior door has been sealed shut with exactly 6 nails. At that point, the pattern is impossible to brush off. Beside the open window frame sits a small 3-step ladder, and on its surface they notice what appears to be blood, bright, vivid red. They can't tell whether it's fresh, deliberately placed, or something else entirely. What they do know is that it sends their adrenaline straight through the roof. The ledge at the window's edge appears to be smeared with that same red substance. Wasaf climbs just high enough on the ladder to peer inside. And that's the moment everything unravels into sheer panic.
Is that blood? Oh, fuck.
Through the opening, he can make out what looks like a human body lying beneath a white sheet, the fabric marked with the same crimson staining. Every instinct in his body screams at him to run, and he listens. As he tears across the yard, heart hammering, he glances left and spots what he believes is a second figure suspended from a tree. He and his companion clear the property at a full sprint with absolutely no desire to look back. Once they've put enough distance between themselves and the house, they contact the police and relay everything they witnessed. Officers show up shortly after, and that's where the footage cuts out, the mystery left hanging. The answers still buried somewhere inside that house. On December 14th, 2025, a home security camera in Saudi Arabia recorded something that's difficult to explain away. The owner of the property was standing outdoors, scrolling through his phone, when the footage captured what appears to be a semi-transparent figure shaped like a human materializing right next to him. The silhouette was unmistakably humanoid, yet its transparency and the way it moved were nothing like a real person. In a statement he made afterward, the man described feeling a physical sensation near his ear at that exact moment, almost as though someone had briefly made contact with him. He spun around and found nobody there. No sound, no movement, nothing his own eyes could detect. What makes this particularly striking is that the figure only registers on the camera itself. The footage shows it moving directly in front of him, then darting past and vanishing, all without prompting any visible reaction from the man whatsoever. That detail alone raises the possibility that whatever this was existed outside the range of normal human perception, detectable only by the lens. Skeptics have chalked it up to a camera malfunction or some kind of transparency artifact in the recording, but others have zeroed in on the precise overlap between the physical sensation he felt and the moment the anomaly appears on screen, arguing that pure coincidence struggles to account for that timing. To this day, no solid explanation has been established. Whether this was a technical fluke or something genuinely unknown is still an open question. On December 14th, 2024, a man by the name of Caesar checked into a notoriously haunted hotel for a short stay. While he was there, he attempted to open a doorway to the paranormal by using a mirror as a portal and putting his very soul forward as an offering. His intention was to reach across the veil and make contact with entities from the other side, but what he did next would prove to be a catastrophic error. After attempting to summon something, he blacked out completely, and when he eventually came to, he was bleeding. Ever since making it back home, something appears to have latched onto him and followed him through the door, because his house has been plagued with strange activity, and his newborn baby has not stopped crying through the night since that day. One particular evening, Caesar is alone at home with his infant sleeping soundly when, without any warning, the baby suddenly bursts into tears. That's the moment he grabs his phone and starts recording. Watch what unfolds.
Ahorita estábamos dormidos y mi bebé empezó a llorar de la nada y se empezaron a escuchar cosas como llantos. ¿Escuchan eso? Es que no me creían que se estaban escuchando cosas en mi casa. Vete, mi amor. Vean, el control está aquí. Yo estaba volteando para cargar a mi bebé porque se están escuchando muchas cosas. Vean, escuchen. Vete, mi amor. Vete, bebé. ¿Soy yo? ¿Soy yo o se movió eso?
thunderous banging echoes through the house and the television switches on with no one near it. He searches for the source of the sounds and finds nothing, then heads back to bed with the baby. But what happens next is far more unsettling.
Escuche. Estoy solo. A ver, voy a ver qué es lo que hay ahora. Espérame, bebé. Espérame, papá. Voy a ver que no haya nadie aquí en la casa. Que se supone que todos salieron de viaje. ¡Hey! ¡Hey! Mi bebé está allá. Mi bebé está allá adentro. ¿Qué pasó, mi amor? ¿Qué pasó? Vente, mi amor. Vente, bebé. Ya, mi amor. Ya, mi amor. Están escuchando nada.
A window swings open on its own, and when he steps outside to see if anyone is there, the bedroom door slams itself shut behind him, and the baby begins to wail. Terrified about what could be happening in that room with his child, he desperately tries to force the door open, and in the chaos, a box can be seen tumbling down the staircase by itself, with nobody anywhere near it. After several nights of managing alone, his girlfriend finally comes back home following a brief hospital stay. Shortly after that, his sister shows up and discovers a mysterious package sitting at the front door. When they open it, what's inside leaves them completely shaken.
Esto se me hace muy raro. Yo no pegué nada. Se me hace muy raro.
¿Estás seguro?
Yo no pegué nada. Yo de verdad no pegué nada. Mira. Ve. Ve.
Ay, se guácala. No. Huele horrible.
Tápalo bien, tápalo bien.
¿Qué es eso?
Siguen escuchando demasiadas cosas, ¿verdad? Mira.
¿Qué es eso? Es que todo viene de otro.
¿Qué es esto, Seth?
Inside the bag are several pieces of raw meat alongside a deeply unsettling jar packed with unidentifiable contents. Caesar reached out to a specialist who believes this is connected to some form of dark ritual, suggesting that whatever he invited in during that hotel stay is now attempting to collect on the soul he offered. Caesar now feels he has no choice but to return to that hotel and try to reverse what he set in motion, hoping to finally bring peace back to his home and protect his baby and the rest of his family. You can watch more of. This next clip was sent in by a woman named Mariah, who had been recording her young daughter as she played quietly with a stuffed animal. At first glance, the whole thing looks completely ordinary, just a sweet, candid moment between a mother and her child. Then things take a turn. While the little girl keeps playing, the head of the stuffed toy suddenly rotates on its own. There's no hand in frame, no string you can make out, and it doesn't look anything like the kind of shift you'd expect from gravity or the toy just tipping over. The whole thing is over in a blink, but that was more than enough to send the comment sections into a meltdown. People were quick to note how deliberate the movement looks. A controlled turn, happening at the exact moment the child's hands are nowhere near it. Mariah herself has said she didn't pick up on anything unusual while she was filming. It was only when she went back and reviewed the footage that she spotted it. So is this just a strange coincidence captured from a lucky angle? Or did something unseen make contact with that toy? That's for you to judge. Meet David, a guy who, back in February 2021, posted a deeply unsettling video to his channel, Abandoned World Explorer, under the title, Strange People in the Woods. David's content usually revolves around exploring derelict buildings and forgotten places, but this particular upload was a sharp departure from that, centered around an app called Randonautica. If you haven't heard of it, Randonautica claims to harness quantum random number generation to send users to completely random coordinates, and those trips have a reputation for producing eerie, almost uncanny results. On the night in question, David told his viewers he was gearing up for another outing powered by the app.
Here we go, guys, the app deleted off my phone and reinstalling. So obviously there's a new terms and condition on there as well again. Right, generate. So like your point is being generated. Right, okay, so it's found. Guys, it looks like, it could be, I don't know, because there's like an assaulting office up here as well, but it actually looks like it's taking us into the woods.
Once the coordinates were generated, the app pointed them straight toward a stretch of woodland. David flagged his unease about being in the vicinity of a prison, though the location it was pulling them toward was deeper into the trees rather than anywhere near the facility itself. The moment they reached their destination, David said something that sent a chill through everyone watching.
It's really weird because it actually took us to these woods a while ago, 5-6 months ago. So there's literally footprints in and out of there, but it is a public. Guys and girls, it's absolutely freezing here as well, I'm not even joking. There's a thing with these maps, it's literally like, what should we do, just walk over and down, or go straight down? I can't even see nothing. I don't really want to keep this away from too much, because honestly, these really...
Despite the brutal weather, the two pushed forward, constantly checking the app to confirm they were still on course as they moved further into the dark, snow-blanketed forest. Then, without warning, everything took a terrifying turn.
It's like a tent or something. There's someone over there. There is. There's some people there. Hello? Is that chainsaw? Ain't chainsaw. Ain't a chainsaw, Dan. Huh? That's not a chainsaw. Hey? Oh, Dan, run! Where are you, man? I'm not. Oh. Mate, we were standing in there. Hello? Where?
David and Dan bolted through the trees, sprinting back toward their car with everything they had. Behind them, a noise. Something that sounded like a chainsaw, though Dan later floated the idea it could have been a quad bike, grew louder the faster they ran. By the time they reached the car, both men were gasping and shaken. Dan mentioned spotting a tent out there in the darkness, something David had completely missed. They called the police immediately, and officers told them to keep well away from that area. What exactly they stumbled upon that night has never been fully explained. Were there just campers out there, spooked by two strangers showing up unannounced? Could it have been someone living rough in the woods? Or was there something far darker going on? That sound they heard, chainsaw or quad bike, and perhaps most troubling of all, why were those people digging at the exact spot the Randonautica app had directed them to? Like so many stories tied to that app, this one leaves you with far more questions than answers, and a creeping feeling about what might have unfolded if David and Dan had stuck around even a moment longer. One evening in 2019, as dusk was beginning to settle in, a woman made her way down to the beach after finishing her meal. She paused there, taking in the beauty of the fading sunset, but as her gaze drifted toward the tree line, something in the distance stopped her cold. Every hair on the back of her neck stood on end when she realized there was something, or someone, lurking among the trees. The best way she could describe it was that it seemed partially human, yet at the same time had a strange, mole-like quality to it. Over the 3 months that followed that first encounter, she kept spotting what appeared to be the same figure, but every time she turned to get a better look, it was already gone without a trace. Then one night, home by herself, she was recording a casual Snapchat video when something deeply unsettling crept into the frame behind her. Looking closely, you can make out what appears to be a dark, unnatural shape moving in the background. The head of a figure seems to drift slowly to the right. Most people watching wouldn't even catch it at first glance, and she certainly didn't notice it in the moment, but it immediately brought back every memory of the figure she had been seeing down by the beach. At the time of filming, she was seated up in a loft with her legs folded beneath her, which rules out any chance of it being her own limb in the shot. So if that explanation is off the table, what exactly is it? The next segment pairs two videos that have something meaningful in common. In the first clip, filmed by Casey Lee, something unfolds that still sends a shiver through her every time it crosses her mind. On this particular evening, Casey had been drinking at home, and feeling a little loose, she started speaking aloud to her late husband Chris, who died in December 2021. She recorded this footage a year after his passing, and every time that month rolls around, she talks to him as though he never left. What happened in that moment shattered her.
Chris, please watch over Boston. Daddy's got you, okay? I'll make sure you're okay. I think he'll make sure I'm okay too. Fuck that. Really? Oh my fucking god, I couldn't have timed that any better. I hope those cameras pick that up. That's it.
The light suddenly fluttered, almost as if it were responding to her words. And it wasn't just a single flicker either. It happened twice, which is why so many viewers believe this was no ordinary wiring glitch. Even before the light did anything, the dog appeared to sense a familiar presence nearby. It's easy to understand why watching this back reduced Casey to tears. But as moving as that story is, the one that follows hits just as hard. It features Josie Sanchez, who's alone in her home when an unusual sound prompts her to pull out her phone and start recording.
Do it again, Dad. Do it again, Dad. Do it again. Flick the light. Flick the light, Dad. Oh my god.
Much like Casey's experience, Josie is convinced this was a message from her father, that he was making his presence known through that flickering light. And just as before, Plenty of viewers are inclined to agree that something beyond explanation may have taken place, but as always, I'll leave the final judgment entirely up to you. A woman by the name of Stephanie began noticing deeply unsettling and bizarre sounds coming from just outside her bedroom in the dead of night. She resided in a peaceful rural village, so the moment these noises started, they were impossible to dismiss. For a while she tried brushing them off, but eventually curiosity and unease got the better of her, and Stephanie made the decision to set up a security camera outside her home to get to the bottom of it. What that camera recorded left everyone completely speechless. Judge for yourself what it caught. As you can plainly see playing out in this footage, an unidentified figure moves directly past her window. There is something deeply off about it. It bears no resemblance to anything human. The way it's shaped and the way it moves are both deeply wrong in ways that are hard to put into words, which only makes the whole thing more chilling. And to this day, we've got a strange piece of footage that recently made the rounds on TikTok. Nobody seems to know where it originally came from, but it features a cyclist somewhere in the UK who set up a camera to record himself trying out a new bike. He climbs on and pedals away, vanishing out of shot, leaving the camera running so it can catch him when he gets back. But it's what unfolds in the background during his absence that has people talking. Keep your eyes on the screen.
It takes about 200 meters, if that. So here we go. After this car. Here we go. Right, that's that.
Fix your gaze on the tree line. A bizarre, impossibly tall and slender figure emerges from behind one of the trees and starts making its way into the shot. Now, at first, some people watching this insist it's just an ordinary person out for a walk, but look more carefully. The proportions are all wrong. The legs appear far too elongated to belong to a human being, and the way it moves is deeply unsettling, slow and deliberate one moment, then disturbingly rapid the next. What makes it even stranger is that the space behind that tree is completely exposed. A regular person approaching that spot would have been visible long before they got there. Instead, it looks almost as though the figure materialized directly out of the tree itself. And if the visuals alone aren't enough to unsettle you, wait until you hear the audio. At the precise moment this peculiar figure steps into frame, the camera starts picking up a strange, buzzing, static-like interference. It's almost as though whatever this thing is, it's emitting some kind of electromagnetic field that's disrupting the recording. So is this simply a camera lens warping the image of a passing hiker? Or did this cyclist unknowingly film a cryptid wandering through the British countryside? On August 18, 2019, a YouTuber who goes by Exploration Unknown, real name John, built a following around documenting dangerous adventures and the strange things he uncovers along the way. His target that day was a structure in Canada known as the Devil's Elbow, a building with a dark reputation tied to occult activity, allegedly practiced by a former owner who was said to have been a high priestess. What's particularly striking is that whatever presence occupied that place seemed determined to keep him out from the very start.
What is up, guys? It is John. I'm back with another adventure, and I am in Canada.
and I'm in an area known as the Devil's Elbow. Now, the reason it's called Devil's Elbow is because this house right here, the original owner's house was a high priestess or priest in the occult, and they practice all kinds of different crazy rituals and ceremonies here. So people have tried to buy this house. They're seeing signs of people fixing it up. No one will live here, guys. Too much freaking activity. And guys, I want to explore this place. There's a fairly new washing machine in here. And you can see all the material. They were definitely, someone has worked on this at some point. I think I'm gonna go back inside, dude. I don't know. Hearing stuff upstairs, but I'm hoping, and I mean this, I really hope that it's paranormal and not someone freaking in here. Hello? I'm not here to bother you. Is anybody in here? I thought I heard a man's voice. When I first came in here, it sounded like somebody walking up here.
But John pressed on, and the deeper he ventured inside, the more the situation began to deteriorate. Every step forward brought him closer to something that was waiting in the shadows, and it was at that point that he came face to face with an experience so deeply disturbing it would leave a permanent mark.
Door's locked. I think I'll... This looks like it must be in the master bedroom. Oh yeah. Well, this is weird. 2 toilets. 2 Johns in the waiting. With a jetted tub. Windows open. This place is pretty cool. Oh, there's a balcony out there too. So if we can get the door open. Keys are making noises. There's freaking somebody down there, dude. Come on, quit messing with me. I'm just trying to freaking... I'll leave. There's something else in here. As I've got myself in a bad situation. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. I'm all freaking out of here. Alright, guys, I'm gonna head downstairs. I'm scared now. Hello? I don't see anybody. I wonder if that's what I was hearing. That's exactly. Is there somebody here? I'm not here to bother or rob anything. I was just here exploring. I thought it was a baby. Oh, baby. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God, turn on. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
It's Christmas morning 2024, and social media user Soy Sare is unwrapping gifts with her little girl. Among all the presents, one stands out to the child immediately. A doll, the kind that walks and sings at the touch of a button. It looks like a perfectly harmless toy, but something unsettling may be lurking beneath the surface. Within just a few days of bringing it home, Soy Saray says the doll began switching itself on without any explanation. Disturbed by what was happening, she posted this footage to her social media page.
Se le regalaron a mi hija esta ahorita para Navidad. Y resulta y resalta que me quedé sola yo aquí en mi casa hace como que unos 2 o 3 días. Y yo estaba acostada cuando sola empezó a sonar y de la nada empezó así pues a caminar, pues, a ver, vamos a tapar así. Pero si se dan cuenta no tiene absolutamente nada aquí, porque yo todo le quito, pues mira, si le tocas absolutamente todo se le quita, mira, mira. Si se dan cuenta le estoy presionando duro, mire. Y no tiene para decir de que, es que tiene las...
Even after pulling out the batteries entirely, the thing still powers up on its own. Soy Saray eventually moves the doll into her own bedroom once it starts frightening her daughter, and that's when she captures this on camera.
De moverse, estoy aquí acostada y mira, fíjate, no deja de moverse, no deja de sonar sola, yo no la he tocado absolutamente para nada, la he tocado para nada, la he movido y mírala, y estoy totalmente sola, o sea, es en serio, no hay nadie. ¡Ay, Dios mío santo! ¿Quién está ahí? ¿Quién está ahí? ¿Hola? Y es que no hay nadie, o sea, yo estoy sola en la casa, mira. No te estoy mintiendo, estoy totalmente sola aquí en la casa. La niña no está, porque pues la niña está ahorita con mi mamá, la niña no está. ¿Soy yo o la maleta se movió? ¿Quién está ahí? Virgen Santa, Virgen Santa. Esto se acaba de mover hacia mí. Se sigue moviendo hasta el... ¿Cómo se llama esa cosa de allá abajo? Estoy toda nerviosa. No hay nadie. Yo estoy totalmente sola aquí en la casa, mira. Estaba acostada, ya está bien tarde, son como la 1, las 2 de la mañana. Y esta bendita muñeca empezó, ya me hasta miedo tocarla. Empezó sola a moverse, a cantar. ¡Ay, Dios! Intentaron abrir esta puerta. Intentaron abrir literalmente esta puerta. ¿Hola? Pues que yo sé que no hay nadie porque yo estoy sola, pues. No hay absolutamente nadie aquí. No tengo más que claro, no hay nadie, mira. Aquí estoy yo totalmente. Padre Celestial, ¿soy yo? ¿Estoy mal o hay alguien allá parado? Esta cosa se está... Mira, mira, fíjate. Va para el cuarto de la niña. ¿Te das cuenta? Mírala. Va para el cuarto de la niña. ¿Qué tienes, muñeca? Tengo nervios de tocarla. Pues ya son, ¿qué les digo yo? Las 2 de la mañana. Miren, van a ser las 2 de la mañana. Ya fui, ya miré, no hay absolutamente nada. Absolutamente nada. No se logra ver bien por el vídeo. Pero no hay absolutamente nada en el patio. Y pues, vaya, estoy totalmente sola, no hay nadie aquí conmigo, no hay absolutamente nadie. Oye la muñeca. Mírenla. Detente, te vas a caer, detente. Miren, y no deja de moverse. ¿Se dan cuenta? Les grabé absolutamente todo.
The doll appears to be making its way toward her daughter's room on its own. Soy Saray even attempts to communicate with it, demanding to know what it wants. Naturally, there's no response, but that's when things take a turn for the truly terrifying. Something can be spotted moving around just outside the window. Soy Saray initially wondered if it was simply her own reflection, but people watching the video have argued that whatever it is seems to move independently. Both Soy Saray and her viewers are now convinced the doll could be cursed or possessed. One commenter even suggested the doll was deliberately trying to let that outside presence into the house. So what do you think? Is this thing cursed or is something else going on? Drop your thoughts below. A woman shared a chilling video on her TikTok that had viewers absolutely shaken. According to her, her son had been walking along a riverbank when he came across an old bag floating in the water. Curious, he opened it up and discovered a worn-out doll inside, which he decided to bring back home. His mother left the bag out in the yard to dry overnight, but what her security camera recorded in the early hours of the morning was something nobody was prepared for. See for yourself what the footage revealed.
Okay, so it's this morning at 12 a.m., 12:06, and then an hour later, nothing. And then you go a little bit further. And at 2:06, it opens up by its fucking self. And that's his face facing us.
Without any warning, the bag unzipped on its own, and the doll slowly lifted its head, appearing to fix its gaze directly toward the house in a deeply unsettling manner. The woman went on to explain that the bag could only be opened by undoing 2 padlocks on the exterior. She later uploaded a follow-up video demonstrating exactly how the doll had been positioned inside before it was sealed.
He's normally facing this way. This is the way that he's been facing. And then we found him facing this way. So I'm gonna put him back the way he was.
Then, 2 weeks after that, a camera set up in her son's bedroom recorded something that left every member of the family completely horrified. This is the moment everything changed. Objects began shifting on their own, and simultaneously the fan in the room started spinning by itself. Plenty of viewers urged the woman to throw the doll out immediately, convinced that it carries some kind of dark presence and is behind all the disturbing activity that's been happening in the boys' room. So what's your take on this? A homeowner was only a few weeks into settling into their new place when their Blink doorbell camera started capturing something unsettling. Most of the footage had been perfectly normal, but one night, a notification came through showing blurry, distorted video unlike anything the camera had recorded before. In it, a young girl appeared to be standing alone outside in the middle of the night. Nobody in the area could identify her, and she never showed up on the camera again. To this day, the clip remains an unexplained mystery for the entire neighborhood. A father was heading outside with his toddler in tow when a raccoon came out of nowhere and lunged straight at him.
Why not? Oh. Jay, are you okay? What happened?
In a split-second panic, he threw the child to the side in an attempt to keep them both safe. As it turned out, the raccoon had no real intention of causing harm. Incredibly, everyone walked away completely unscathed. The dad, the little one, and even the raccoon itself. Just one giant misunderstanding that played out on camera, and fortunately for all involved, nobody got so much as a scratch. A group of friends decided to kick off Halloween night with a live stream built entirely around the paranormal. Low lighting, eerie decorations, the full setup. For a while, it seemed like nothing more than your standard Halloween broadcast. But things were about to take a very unsettling turn.
Dice, subí una historia.
Denle tap a la pantalla. Se movió ese pedo, güey. ¿Eh? Se movió. No estás mamando. Ya te estás asustando, que te estás asustando a la verga. Ya te estás asustando. No. En buen plan. No. Manifiéstate, Satanás.
As the stream rolled on, people in the chat began pointing out that a mask hanging behind the group looked seriously off. The guys brushed it aside at first, treating the comments as part of the fun, until one of them decided to push his luck and dared whatever energy might be lurking to actually reveal itself. That's the moment everything changed. The mask began to move on its own, rotating slowly, as though something had just woken up inside it and was turning to look him dead in the face. The panic was immediate and raw. One of them acts purely on reflex and swings at the mask, sending it crashing to the ground. The entire energy of the room shifts in an instant. Fear completely takes over. After that, there's no way they're keeping the lights off, and they finish the rest of the stream fully lit, visibly rattled. Everyone tuned in was left with a serious case of the chills, and the debate still lingers to this day. Freak coincidence? Or did something actually respond to that challenge? Either way, one lesson stands out clearly. Provoking the unknown is rarely a game worth playing. A young girl was standing at a bus stop just going about her day when a bus driver suddenly began acting inappropriately toward her. Visibly irritated, the girl lifted her hand, and in an instant, the driver was sent stumbling backward despite nobody laying a finger on him. It was as though some unseen force had intervened on her behalf. Onlookers stood frozen, completely baffled by what they had just witnessed. Was it pure coincidence? Or does this girl possess some kind of extraordinary ability? That night, Antonio found himself alone in the house, making his way downstairs with nothing but his phone screen to cut through the darkness. He reached for the light switch and got nothing. The light simply wouldn't respond, leaving him to navigate the gloom by the dim glow of his camera alone. He pressed on cautiously until he entered the dining room, where the table stood perfectly still and untouched. Then everything changed.
Me quedé solo en la casa. Me han pasado cosas desde que vi ese maldito video. Escucho cosas, no hay luz, no sé qué hacer. Escucho muchas cosas. Ay, Dios, tengo miedo. ¿Qué pedo? ¿Qué pedo? ¿Qué pedo? ¿Qué pedo? ¿Quién está ahí? ¿Qué pedo? ¿Qué pedo? ¿Qué es eso? ¿Qué es eso?
Without warning, one of the dining chairs scraped backward across the floor in a slow, deliberate drag, as though something invisible had reached out and pulled it. The noise echoed through the entire house, and Antonio stopped dead in his tracks, his breathing shallow and ragged as a wave of dread washed over him. The footage ends just seconds after that, leaving everyone who watches it unsettled and searching for answers about what kind of supernatural force had made itself at home there. If something could move a chair with that kind of purpose, what else might have been lurking just beyond the reach of that camera's light, watching him? And there's really no telling how much more sinister things got once the recording stopped. This footage was uploaded to YouTube by a channel called EMAR419 back in December of 2009, which goes a long way toward explaining the rough video quality. That said, blurry picture or not, this one is genuinely unsettling. The clip follows Imar and a woman named Evelyn as they explore what's known as the Sawyer boiler room. Evelyn mentions she thinks something is there, prompting Ima to step in and take a closer look alongside her. For roughly 2 minutes, the two of them move through the boiler room, and the whole thing has this deeply eerie atmosphere, largely thanks to how dark and enclosed the space feels. Then, right around the 2.5-minute mark, things take a serious turn. See for yourself what unfolds next.
All right. Well, don't worry. Go get your whatever your material is.
Oh, David. I don't think I want to go there.
Come on, go ahead. Evelyn, just go.
No.
All right, hang on. Is there anybody back here? Go ahead.
No.
What's that? Oh my God. No way.
Without anyone visibly touching it, the chair directly in front of them starts sliding toward them. How that actually happened is open to debate, but it's hard to watch without feeling a little uneasy. The most logical real-world explanation would be a thin string or piece of fishing line yanking it forward, something that would disappear completely into the shadows and the grainy footage. Paranormal videos from that period frequently leaned on low-tech tricks like that, particularly in abandoned spaces where everything could be set up in advance. What keeps people coming back to this clip, though, is how fluid the movement looks and how neither of them reacts like they were responsible for it. Reports of objects shifting on their own are among the most frequently cited elements in haunting accounts, and they tend to be quiet and subtle rather than dramatic. Staged or genuine, the scene taps into something primal, the nagging sense that something invisible is reaching into the world around you. What's your read on it? Given that this video is now 17 years old, here's hoping that Ima and Evelyn moved on to quieter, happier days, and that whatever they encountered in that boiler room never found its way home with them.